Just gone 29 minutes to 8 o'clock. You're still with us here on Morning News Today on ANC. Now, let's bring you more on one of our top stories this morning that we're tracking for you. DA leader Mmusi Maimane will brief the media later this morning after the party lost control of Nelson Mandela Bay yesterday. The party claims Athol Trollip's removal as a mayor was unlawful. Trollip was ousted during a council meeting yesterday. He's now been replaced by the UDM's Mongameli Bobani. Well, for more, we're joined in the studio here in terms of more analysis by researcher and data analyst Paul Berkowitz. Paul, good morning and thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Well, now let's just start the DA arguing that the removal of Trollip yesterday was unlawful. What's your sense? What's your view?
I think it's going to all come down to what the law, how the law is interpreted by the lawyers. What I think the DA is hinging their hopes on is that their councillor that broke ranks with them and abstained in the motion of no confidence vote, he actually announced to the media sometime yesterday that he was leaving the DA, and then he retracted the statement. So I think what the DA will do at this point is they will try and argue that his presence in the votes after the motion of no confidence was unlawful and that there was no quorum at the council.
Okay, but we do know anyway that there's been a lot of noise around Athol Trollip by the opposition parties. The EFF started the whole thing by calling for a motion of no confidence against him. It's been going on for quite some time. Why wouldn't the DA just listen to those voices and say maybe we should find somebody else to lead us in the council?
That's a good question, Dan. And it might be because Trollip has got a lot of experience in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, and I guess because he's built his profile there, maybe he didn't want to stand down. It's hard to know what's happening behind the scenes, but I think it is clear that this relationship between the EFF and the DA, at least in Nelson Mandela Bay, has broken down very badly.
Yeah, and I'm asking this against the background of knowing that what's going on in Johannesburg with Herman Mashaba, what's going on. On Thursday, we have a vote of no confidence, the motion being tabled at the Tshwane Council against Solim Simang. And of course, the Athol Trollip one has been coming on for quite some time. And coalition doesn't seem to be working. It doesn't seem that the DA is able, for some reason, to hold it together. Or am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong necessarily, but what I think we need to keep sight of is that the EFF is not formally in these coalitions. The EFF made a point of saying that we're standing outside, that the DA's government is essentially a minority government in these metros. Now, the EFF plus the ANC together would have a clear majority in both Joburg and Tshwane. But whether the EFF is going to want to, in the future, let's say, form a coalition with the ANC or have the same kind of hands-off relationship that they have with the DA, I guess we'll still have to see.
Yeah. Now, with Nelson Mandela Bay, I'm just wondering, what are the implications then for governance in that metro? There's a challenge by the DA, as we're hearing this morning, that the removal of Athol Trollip was unlawful, that he's turning up for work this morning. There's Mongameli Bobani from the UDM, and then Bantu Holomisa talking to our colleague Shahan Ramkissoon last night on ANC said he's now the mayor, and he's going to work with the ANC and work with the others, and it's a collective kind of mechanism. What, in your view, would be the implications of governance for the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro now?
I think we're still in a period of instability. If we look at the numbers, if we look at what we'd say is a core coalition, assuming that the ANC plus the EFF plus the UDM can find each other across the aisles, they still only have 59, which is a minority. The DA plus the ACDP plus COPE is still only 59. There's the two independents, there's the ARC and the Patriotic Alliance, and they've swapped sides each at least once between these different coalitions. So there's a lot of instability. And I don't see it going away anytime soon.
Now, the sad part for me is that such political instability in the chamber is affecting service delivery. At some point, the residents, the ratepayers of Nelson Mandela Bay are the ones who are paying for all of this instability.
That's correct. And without a quorum, without a majority, it's hard to pass any laws in council. I think the one positive we can take out is that in terms of the budget cycle, most of the budgets for the new municipal year, which started in July, should have already been passed. So most of the business of council, the important budget-related stuff, should already be behind us. But going forward, it's going to be unstable.
Yeah, hopefully that instability won't paralyze the work of the council, because at the end of the day, these councillors were elected in local government elections in 2016 on the back of service delivery.
Well, we've seen a similar story unfold in Mogale City, where the ANC missed the majority by just one. There were also accusations amongst the DA-EFF coalition then, a couple of months ago, that one of the councillors had swapped sides. And we might even see a chain reaction. It's not just the Gauteng metros that are in jeopardy, but there are a whole number of municipalities in northern KwaZulu-Natal where the DA and the EFF are essentially partners with the IFP in government. And who knows what will happen.
So we should brace ourselves in a way, very briefly as we conclude, Paul, some horse trading going on with the other minority parties in that Nelson Mandela Bay metro. You mentioned the Patriotic Front and the others, to see which side, whose side are they going to support in the chamber now going forward.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Paul Bekovic, just giving us some of his views about what's been happening at the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. Implications, what should we expect to come out of this process?